So, welcome to our Reiki share and our podcast this evening, everyone. I'm so glad you could be here. I never really know what I'm going to be talking about from month to month, sometimes right up until the day of the Reiki share. And so this morning, usually it is a day or two before, but this time it wasn't. And this morning I was asking, what are we going to be talking about? And I wrote a list of possibilities and I kept hearing no. And I knew our podcast and our share this evening had to do with the upcoming holidays. For our American friends, you're soon going to be into your Thanksgiving, which is a big family time. And for the rest of us, Christmas is right around the corner, shortly on its heels. And so we're all going to be spending time with family and close friends. And as I was doing my Reiki walk that I do every morning and most evenings with the dogs, I heard very clearly that we were to talk about relationships. And what showed up is just that we can do so much work on ourselves and be so zen and that sort of thing. But it's often the relationships with the people that are closest to us that can still push our buttons a little bit and remind us that we still have work to do. And if any of you have teenagers, my teenagers are older now, but they gained their skills when they were teens and they maintained them. And my youngest daughter in particular, we're so much alike that we're seldom very zen when we're interacting. So it's an opportunity to practice and get better. Before we go too much further, I'd just like to let you all know about some of the things that we have coming up at the farm. We do have a licensed Reiki level 1 and 2 class in December. We also have animal communication. That'll be the last time I teach that until next summer, I think it is. And also Animal Reiki 1 and 2, as well as Animal Reiki Masters, are both coming up in December. There is a prerequisite for Animal Reiki 1 and 2. You do have to have studied up to the level 2 Reiki from any lineage before taking Animal Reiki 1 and 2. And before taking the master class, you must be a Reiki master and you need to have taken the ICRT Animal Reiki level 1 and 2 training. But I'd love to have you join us if that makes sense for you. And in January, we have a full slate of Reiki classes, January and February, level 1 and 2 masters, animal Reiki 1 and 2 masters, and even a Karuna Reiki class that goes into February. So if any of those speak to you, please join us. Recently, we took part in the Reiki Raise free online event. And that's something that if any of you still wish to participate, you can actually still purchase the event. And I'll put a link to that in the podcast just in case any of you are interested. It's some of the top speakers on Reiki and just some fantastic topics. So if that's of interest, I invite you to check that out. And before we get too much further, I'm just going to invite everybody to activate your Reiki energy with a brief invocation. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, take some deep breaths, and bring your hands into Gasho and breathe, just letting go of the worries of your day and of everything you need to think about later. This moment is about you and for you. So give yourself this time to focus your attention on you. I invite you to activate your Reiki symbols, inviting them to join you, activating them in your hands and in your body and all around the room. And then place your hands comfortably on your body, giving yourself Reiki. And today we talk about relationships and how Reiki can assist us in them. It's a wonderful discussion that I had with William Rand. And William said that it's one thing to be peaceful and Zen like in a monastery, but he always believed the true test was whether we could do it in the real world, in real life, with a job and family and paying the bills and all of the things that we all do and need to do. And this month we look at relationships and how Reiki can really assist us to allow a relationship to heal. And we'll look at the opportunities that those unhealed relationships have to help us learn and grow. At the same time, we will be inviting peace and harmony and unification to flow through our hearts and into our lives. And we invite this process to begin now. We'll be conducting a meditation called Healing Disharmony from the Animal Reiki Masterclass. I invite you to think about some of the relationships in your life that are strained or uncomfortable in any way. They may be relationships with coworkers, family, friends, members of your community. Some of you might even consider your relationship with yourself, that most important relationship of all. How strong is your relationship with you? Can you honestly say you love all of the aspects of yourself, everything about who you are? And if not, that may wish to be your focus tonight. We invite any relationships that need to be healed. We invite the Reiki energy and the divine ones who are with us to flow into the relationship chords this evening and to begin repairing them for us on our behalf. We invite a harmony and peace to surround us as we enter into this wonderful holiday season and to flow from us to others so that they might enjoy harmony and peace as well. We are blessed to be of the lineage of light bringers who are creating wellness in the earth today. And we are blessed to have this time to work together to create peace and wellness within ourselves. Nahom Takwiwasan. Namaste and Amen. Ashe, Shalom. And so it is. And so go ahead and take your time coming back. And just thinking about any of the relationships in your own life that could use healing and that would benefit from participating today. And we invite the Reiki energy to flow through those relationship cords and begin the process of healing. We call out today particularly to the mental emotional symbol, and we invite it to work on our behalf among the relationship chords. Whenever you're ready, invite you to come back. Thank you, everyone, for being here today to talk about something that is most important to all of us: relationships. The human being is a social creature, a social animal. We tend to exist in communities and in family groups, and each group that we exist within has a culture and expectations. And as we find our way to our authentic selves, the way that Holy Fire Reiki seems to bring us into that space, we work on ourselves and we become more and more peaceful and more zen in more and more aspects of our lives. And yet, sometimes there are some relationships that elude this peacefulness. They typically are somebody important to us, somebody close to us. Today, as I was meditating with the energy, asking what we would be talking about and what we would be doing this evening, the energy showed me that those strained relationships are an opportunity for us. They're usually something that we don't necessarily look forward to. Oftentimes, the holiday season is a time when we are thrown together with people from our family, friends, coworkers in social settings. And if there are any relationships that are strained in those settings, the energy showed that this is a real opportunity for us to heal. I once had a conversation with William Rand where we were talking about spirit attachments, and he had such an unusual way to look at spirit attachments. He said, I'm always grateful when I get a spirit attached to my energy because it shows me a part of myself that I need to work on that I was previously unaware of. And I thought, what an interesting way to look at things. And in fact, then I began thinking of relationships and I thought, wow, so those difficult relationships show us or give us an opportunity to realize an aspect or an area of our own lives that are not working. And so I think that's an opportunity I really would like to explore with you today. One of the things that happened very early in my own Reiki adventure, is that I had a really bad disagreement with the two people that I was very close with. And I thought, I'm going to show them, I'm going to send them Reiki and they're going to see that I'm right. And the Reiki energy tapped me on the shoulder and said, it doesn't really work that way. And I said, what do you mean? Clearly I'm right. And the Reiki energy pointed out to me that in every relationship, I am a 50% owner. Therefore, I must be owning 50% of the issues within our disagreement. And while I wasn't in a space that I wanted to agree with the energy, I could see the logic behind that. And so the energy then said to me, So you can't send them Reiki to show them that you're right. And I said, well, what can I do? And the Reiki said, remember, you're 50% owner of the relationship. You can send Reiki energy into your relationship cord. Now, I was a level 2 Reiki practitioner at the time, so I had received the mental emotional symbol. And I particularly saw that this symbol going, just imagining and doing a Reiki session and imagining that symbol going into the relationship cords that they were damaged at that point. I was pretty upset and they were pretty upset. So it wasn't a comfortable situation. And I was really shocked at how quickly that the 3 relationships were repaired. I was shocked. Within a couple of weeks, we were all sitting around together, laughing together, and getting along just fine. And I really actually thought I was so upset. I thought I'm going to take a break from those 2 people and I'm going to take a year off from them. And so just a few weeks later, for the relationships to have gotten repaired to that point, and neither of us actually admitted we were wrong or admitted we were right. We just seemed to mutually decide to move on from our disagreement and just let it go, basically. But I was absolutely amazed at how quickly it healed that. I actually had a student one time in class break down in tears when I explained that you can take the mental emotional symbol and send it into relationship cords to heal the relationship. And she said that there was an in-law, a sister-in-law in her family that nobody got along with, and it was causing a strain with her brother and a strain in the whole family, and she was reviewing the class with me. She had had level 2 Reiki for about 10 years, and she said, "Do you mean to tell me that I could have done this 10 years ago?" And and we could have not had such a strained relationship, and I said, "Yeah, but you didn't know, and now, so just start now." I ran into her a few months after class and I said, "How did that go?" And she said, "It's just like night and day. We have our brother back. She doesn't get under our skin anymore. Like we're all getting along." So this is the sort of thing that Reiki can really do for us. And it can really heal any relationship that we direct the Reiki energy to. Another aspect, though, of relationships that don't work or that are uncomfortable is that there's often also an element of the shadow self in uncomfortable relationships or in strained relationships. And what I mean by that is that there is something that if there's something that we don't care for about another person, and if it triggers us, like if it makes us a little angry or antsy or edgy, it's because there's something that that person is reflecting for us. So once again, this is an opportunity for us to heal. So if there is a relationship, someone that really triggers you, I want you to, and whether that's now or in the future, and maybe you have a long list of people that trigger you might want to do this exercise for each and every one of those people. But when there is a person or a situation that really triggers us, that makes us frustrated and angry and really emotional, causes a really emotional reaction, that's because there's something in us that is being reflected by that person. So, in other words, I'd like you to think about somebody that maybe that triggers you, that just, oh, this person drives you a little bit nuts. It might be a boss or a coworker or a family member or a friend of a friend. I don't know. Um, but just think about that person And then think for a moment, what is it about that person that I don't like? And I'll give you an example. For myself, there was a horse, and oh man, that horse could trigger me. She would tick me off, and she was lazy and she wasn't living up to her potential. And we did a shadow self meditation together. And she pointed out to me that the work I did was important. This was back in 2013, and she pointed out the work that we're doing with horses and with Reiki and animals and animal communication, it's really important. And your website has said under construction for 2 years. And you're a marketer. You have an MBA with a focus in marketing. And so she just really showed me that I was being a bit lazy and that I wasn't living up to my potential. And you know what? Once we work to heal that, and we're going to be doing that in our meditation tonight, what you'll most likely find is that person no longer, either they drop out of your life or they no longer trigger you. Now, for that horse, as she refused, she was the most beautiful, most athletic horse in my pasture. And she refused to do riding lessons. She's like, I'm not going to let a bunch of beginners on my back. And all the other horses were paying for her hay, and even the older ones, and she wasn't doing any work at all. And as soon as we did the shadow self meditation, I actually was approached almost immediately by someone who wanted to lease her. And it was one of my riders who had worked her way up, and she had gotten quite skilled. And I said, absolutely, you can lease her. And suddenly that horse became, she paid for her hay and some of the other horses' hay, and she became one of the hardest workers in my herd. So it's really interesting that either you'll look at the person differently or the relationship, or something will change. And occasionally, like once we heal the relationship, the person does drop out of our life because we also healed the part of us that perhaps we don't like. We bring it up to the surface and it has an opportunity to heal. So sometimes these difficult relationships provide a real opportunity for us to do healing that we not even be aware of. A lot of shadow self. The shadow self is the parts of ourselves that we don't like and that we push down below our level of awareness. And when we do that, then we even sometimes aren't even aware that energy is there. So these people can really help us with that. So there are a lot of opportunities for us within relationships that are dysfunctional or that don't work as well. And I'd really like to move into a meditation with you today and just begin to explore some of the possibilities and some of the things that can happen when we bring harmony into the situation. Okay. I'm going to invite you then to make yourself comfortable. Today's meditation is a bit of a longer one, so I thought I'd go a little shorter on the explanation. Just go ahead and get really comfortable. Close your eyes. Take some deep breaths. And I invite you to consider a relationship in your life that is not in harmony. And we're just going to choose one at this point, although there is going to be a place in the meditation when harmony is invited into all relationships. And I'd like you to think about what it is about a person that annoys you, that gets under your skin. Really give it some thought. And now ask yourself honestly, is there any part of that may exist within you? Because if it didn't exist within you, you would feel apathetic. You wouldn't have a strong charge around it. So really dig in and say, is there anything that reminds me of me? Could this be a part of myself that I don't like and that I have pushed down below my level of awareness? Now, with your eyes closed, take a deep breath. Bring your hands once more into the gasho, activating your Reiki energy. And then place your hands comfortably on your body, giving yourself Reiki. Then breathe. Breathe in the light of Reiki. And breathe in the light of self-love. And I invite you to imagine that it's a beautiful, warm, sunny day, and that you're walking through a trail in a beautiful forest. And in fact, the person or animal whose relationship is uncomfortable for you is walking along with you. And as you both walk along, you breathe in the life energy of the forest, and the energy of the earth flows out through the bottoms of your feet. You continue walking until you come to a place in the forest where there's a clearing. In the middle of the clearing is a small hill covered with soft grass and beautiful wildflowers. I invite you to climb up the hill. And as you do, you notice the grass and the wildflowers brushing against your legs, and the other person climbs up the hill as well, but they seem to be on their own journey. You both find a spot that feels right to you, and you lie down, feeling the grass and the earth beneath your body as you gaze up at the sky. And you're each in your own journey. As you gaze at the sky, a beautiful beam of light pierces the clouds. And you recognize right away that this is the light from the heart of God, and the light of Reiki. It shines down upon you and even feels like it shines into you, filling you with warmth and feelings of safety and love. And at the same time, you notice that the earth beneath you seems to glow. The energy from the heart of the earth is flowing through your back body. And these energies meet together in your central channel and in your heart, bringing balance and unification to all parts of yourself. And now the light of forgiveness flows through the lights and through you. And I invite you to take an honest look inside and consider, is there any unforgiveness that exists within me? You may notice it as little dots or balls all throughout your body, a little bit of unforgiveness here and there and other places. And some of them, you may not even remember what it is you don't forgive, but the unforgiveness may have stayed with you. And I invite you to ask in particular, is there any unforgiveness that I feel toward the individual who is with me today, who I've chosen to work on the relationship cord with? Do I have any unforgiveness within me toward myself? And the light of forgiveness simply flows through you now, releasing any unforgiveness from you, and it is soaked immediately into the earth. And just breathe in the freedom of that. We're not necessarily saying as you bring forgiveness that we condone the actions of any of the people or relationships where you're forgiving. We're simply saying we're no longer willing to allow that unforgiveness to hold you hostage. And so you let it go. And I invite you to imagine bringing your own personal energy in so that it's very close to you. Just skimming your body. Give you a few moments to just pull it in from the left, the right, from above you and below you, in front of you and behind you, until it's nice and close. And as your energy comes in close with the light of forgiveness flowing around you, and the light of forgiveness is good for more than just forgiveness. It can release large obstacles. All of the energy and opinions that you are holding and carrying on behalf of others just drops away. And what is left is you, in your truth and in your authority. And the opinions of others about who you are or how you conduct yourself, they too drop away. And you realize they were never important. And so you let them go. And you breathe in the freedom of that. Breathe deeply now. As the energy begins to release from you the layers of the ways and worries of the world that you have been carrying. We invite the light of unification to flow through you, connecting all of the disparate parts of yourselves, and then to flow from you through the relationship cord toward the person or the animal with whom you have a difficult relationship. And at the same time, the light of peace flows through you both. And I invite you to imagine that you are holding hands with this person on the other side of this uncomfortable relationship, and that you're looking into each other's eyes. And I invite you to say the following: may you be well. May you be happy. And may you be free from suffering. And just pause to let that sink in. You may notice that their spirit is looking at you a little differently now. This statement has released any grace within you toward that person, and without a hard edge to push up against, there is an opportunity for a true friendship, a true relationship. You may look at them once more and say, may you be well. May you be happy. And may you be free from suffering. And just allow that to sink in. And once more, may you be happy. And may you be free from all suffering. And just breathe in the freedom of letting go of that brace, that hardness, that hard edge that exists within us. I invite you to move into gratitude toward that individual for showing you an aspect of yourself that needs to heal. And you let them go now into their own experience once again. And you invite the part of yourself that wishes to heal, the part of yourself that this relationship has reflected so accurately for you, and part of yourself that needs healing. And if you aren't 100% certain of what that is yet, that's okay. You can still invite it to come forward. And as the part of yourself comes forward, you may see it as a very broken individual with their shoulders hunched and just looking very dejected. You take the hands of that part of yourself and you look them in the eyes. It may even be difficult for them to do that. And you say, I acknowledge you. I recognize that you've been there all along, and I'm sorry I've ignored you. Where's that broken part of yourself? Will you accept my apology? And you invite that broken part of yourself to come into the light, to be healed, and the light of unification and of peace flows through. And you look that broken part of yourself in the eyes and you say, may you be well. May you be happy. May you be free from suffering. And you notice that a wave of Reiki energy flows through and around that person and just sweeps the suffering, the layers, the brokenness away from them. And they become a bit brighter, a bit more animated, a bit more interested. And so you say it again. May you be happy. And may you be free from suffering, and you really mean it. And once again, the Reiki energy just sweeps in and releases all kinds of layers and debris. And that broken part of yourself is beginning to look a lot healthier. And you say once more, may you be well. May you be happy. And may you be free from suffering. Another big wave of Reiki energy comes in and just sweeps away anything, any energies that were preventing that part of yourself from being healthy and well. And if it feels right to you, you may wish to embrace that formerly damaged or injured part of yourself that has now healed. And let it know that you love and accept it. And if it feels right to you, you can even ask this part of yourself to merge with the whole. And you will gain back another piece of yourself, healthy and whole, authentic. You realize that so many times we put parts of ourselves aside because we deem them unacceptable to others. And so as many times as you do this exercise, you reclaim a part of who you are, part of your authentic personality, your authentic self. And so now you are even more open and able to feel the gratitude. Gratitude within that relationship that showed you this part of yourself that needed healing. Just allow the energy of gratitude to flow through your relationship cord to that other person or individual. And as you do, the light of harmony surrounds you both, flowing through each of you and flowing through your relationship cord. Gratitude and harmony. And we're going to stay here for a little while, just accepting the gratitude and harmony and allowing them to flow through you, through the relationship cord, as the other person allows it to flow through them and through the relationship cord as well. And we invite the mental emotional symbol to go in and just repair any of the frayed edges, any brokenness that may have existed within that cord. so that the light of harmony and gratitude can flow freely throughout it. When you're ready, I invite you to imagine that you're standing, and so is the other half of your relationship cord. And you face each other, and if it feels right to you, you may embrace them. And the energy has pointed out to me that the word embrace contains no brace. The hard edge has been released, and so I invite you to embrace them with the freedom in your heart, no more difficulty from that relationship. And this may be a relationship that you are then letting go, or it may be a relationship that is current and present in your life right now in this moment in time. And I invite you to look at each other with harmony and peace in your hearts and say thank you. They have brought you great learning today, as you have brought them. I invite you to stay in this experience as long as you'd like. When you are ready, you can come back into the room. Namaste.